Welcome to Ouch. Was that a ghost? This podcast may contain graphic material, which some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Help me.
Now that we covered that, here's your host, Liz.
Welcome back to Ouch, Was That a Ghost with Liz, and today I have a special guest, Casey Ray from Notorious Escapades.
Yes, hi everybody. So the podcast that I run with my Taylor Swift bestie is Notorious Escapades, and we just kind of cover like true crime, events that happened, or people, or TV shows that are notorious. So you'll have to give us a follow and a listen.
You're a Swiftie, huh?
Yes, diehard Swiftie.
I actually went to a party recently where everyone had to come in as a different era of her.
Really? Which era did you do?
I just went with like a sweatshirt from her concert tour. I don't even know which era I did, but
Aww.
my brother went as Travis Kelce and had the mustache, and then it was so great. Some of the guys went there as like different Taylor Swift eras. It was fantastic.
Aw, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Since you're a true crime girl, I'm going to be doing a true crime case for you today.
Yay.
I am so bad at pronunciation, so get ready for that. Today, I'm covering the case of Leonarda Cianciulli. Sounds right? Perfect. or she's known as the soap maker of Coriego.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of this one?
I have not.
Okay, good. So Leonarda was born on April 18th in 1894 in Montella de Avellino, Italy. She had like a really rough childhood because she was the result of her mother being raped, and her mother, because of that, didn't really show her too much affection throughout her childhood.
Oh, wow.
She was troubled from very young. She tried to unalive herself a few times. Leonarda went to go see a fortune teller where she got a reading that said she would marry and that she would have many children, but all would die young. In 1917, Leonarda married a local registry clerk named Raphael Pansardi. Leonarda's mother was not happy about this marriage because Leonarda was supposed to marry another man. And that's when Leonarda claimed that her mother had cursed her, dooming her life, or dooming her. I don't know. The newlyweds moved to Raphael's hometown of Lauria Pontenza. See, my pronunciations are perfect. And in 1927, Raphael would be arrested and do some time for fraud. And when Raphael was released, the pair moved to Lacedonia, Avellino, and then a big earthquake hit, destroying their entire house and like the village. Then they moved to Coriego. This is where Leonarda opened a cute little shop and she made some friends. She became pretty popular and well respected in the town. And despite Leonarda's 17 pregnancies throughout her marriage, sadly, 3 did not make it to term and 10 didn't make it past youth. So she only had 4 left.
Okay.
So she guarded them like a hawk. And because of losing most of her children, Leonarda became extremely superstitious, trying to protect her 4 children from the curse that she believed her mother placed on her. So Leonarda went to go see a Romani, who read Leonarda's palms and told Leonarda, "In your right hand I see prison, and in your left hand I see a criminal asylum." In 1937, Leonarda's favorite son, that's so cold, in so many articles it said, "Oh, this is her favorite son, Giuseppe." Like, I didn't know you were allowed to say that out loud. But Giuseppe joined the Royal Italian Army to fight in the Second World War. And according to the fortune teller, all her children would die. So Leonarda was like, I can't lose another child. So in her mind, she had to protect him. So she came to the conclusion that she had to sacrifice some people so her son would survive.
That's dark.
It is. So Leonarda's neighbor was a spinster named Faustina Setti, and that was her first victim. Faustina had very little family and desperately wanted a husband. Leonarda told Faustina, "I got you." That's exactly what she said back then. I got you. She said, I know a guy in a nearby town that would be perfect, but told her not to say a word about this. And Leonarda had Faustina write a bunch of letters and postcards to her friends and family explaining why she left and why she didn't really tell anybody. And Leonarda, being such a great friend, said, oh, I'll mail them out for you. So Faustina was so excited. She was like, I'm going to, meet my husband. She's packing and everything. And she stopped by Leonarda's to thank her and say goodbye. And while saying their goodbyes, Leonarda gave Faustina some wine that she laced. That's when Leonarda's true intentions came to light, as she took an axe to Faustina, cut her into 9 parts, being sure to save the blood.
Is she a vampire? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you'll see. Not quite. Close, though. Leonarda said of this, quote, I threw the pieces into a pot, added 7 kilos of caustic soda, which I bought to make soap, and I stirred the mixture until the pieces dissolved into a thick, dark mush. And I poured into several buckets and emptied into nearby septic tanks. As for the blood in the basin, I waited for it to coagulate, dried it in the oven, ground it, and mixed it with flour, sugar, chocolate, milk, and eggs, as well as a bit of margarine. She kneaded it all together, and she made lots of crunchy tea cakes and served them to the ladies that came to visit. And, of course, her and Giuseppe ate them as well. And it's not even tea cakes, crunchy tea cakes. So, in her eyes, one sacrifice wasn't enough. So, Francesca Soavi, and also a neighbor with little family, this time Leonarda promised to help her with a school job. She's so helpful.
He is. Oh, what a friend.
Right? The job was, of course, out of town. And Leonarda had Francesca write letters and postcards to friends and family about why she's leaving and saying goodbye to everybody. Again, Leonarda drugged her, axed her to death, and then she cooked her body in a pot in the kitchen, made her into cakes, and again, gave them away because she's so nice.
Oh, yeah. So nice of her.
Such a good neighbor. Leonardo's next and final victim was Virginia Cacioppa, who was a former opera singer that wanted to move to the city, and she paid Leonarda 50,000 lire to find her a secretary job in Florence. She again made cakes from Virginia's body. These ones she described as the best ones yet because Virginia was really sweet, in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
This time, Leonarda also melted down some of Virginia's skin and added some perfume to it and made her into soap, which she also gifted to her neighbors.
Oh, she's just, giving all the gifts.
She is. She's taking care of that neighborhood. The problem with Virginia was that Virginia had a sister-in-law in the area that noticed that she was missing and thought everything was kind of strange. And she reported Virginia missing to the local police when something just seemed weird. She told the police that the last time she saw Virginia was going into Leonarda's house. And the police went and questioned Leonarda, who was like, yeah, I have no idea what happened to these 3 women. I'm just an innocent shopkeeper giving cakes and soap to people. The police were like, well, we have to question Giuseppe, your son. And Leonarda got scared that her son would be charged or arrested. So she was like, okay, it was all me. And she gave the police a detailed confession. So while Leonarda was on trial in 1946, she showed no signs of remorse for her crimes. She was just like really matter of fact and almost cold. And she would correct the prosecution. Like if they were like, oh, you put salt in the recipe, she'd be like, no, I didn't. And she proudly told the judge at the end of how she helped the war because she donated her very own copper kettle because the war efforts were in desperate need of copper. Almost as if she was trying to point out the good that she did, so that kind of negates all the bad stuff.
Yeah, killing people and eating them.
Yeah. So she was shocked that the judge still found her guilty. And she was sentenced to 30 years in prison and 3 years in a criminal asylum, fulfilling the fortune teller's prophecy. You know how they said 30 years on one hand. Well, not 30 years, prison in one hand. And, Leonarda died on October 15th, 1970 at age 76 in the criminal asylum in Italy. And I don't know how to speak Italian. The Criminology Museum, basically, in Italian, is located in Rome. Still has on display some items from this horrendous serial killer, including the axe and the pot that she used.
Just 3 victims?
Yes. So if your neighbor comes knocking at your door, will you accept any food today?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No soap either. Don't give me any.
Yeah. I was going to ask about bath products, but you beat me.
That would be my luck. I would probably have somebody try to give me that.
It would like, hey, Casey, I have a husband for you.
Oh, that would be funny. How old were these? You said they were considered like spinsters. How old were these women
Well,
she
you could
killed?
be a spinster at like 17 back then.
Yeah.
No, they were at least all of them at least in their 30s and up.
Oh, so yeah, yeah,
Isn't that crazy that would be like spinster age?
yeah, yeah. I'm just kind of surprised she confessed so quickly.
Well, it was Giuseppe, the son that she liked, her
How?
favorite son.
Yeah. How long did the four live? The ones that did remain, they probably didn't live that long.
I couldn't find any exact ages or names. All the articles just talked about Giuseppe.
Yeah, because he
Like
probably
he's
went
the
to
only
war.
one that mattered.
Oh
No one
Lord,
else mattered but Giuseppe. I
he
was like,
he
okay,
was special,
he was. Oh my gosh.
and her husband too. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, so I didn't include this either. I did such a small thing. But at the trial, Giuseppe and her husband were also brought in later because they helped dispose of body parts. So you can't even say that they didn't know. They'd be like bringing hands and feet to the river.
Yeah. So he knew the husband.
Yeah,
I
if they're
guess.
bringing body parts, because I don't think that they're misconstruing what's going on.
Yeah.
I didn't know she killed anybody, but I threw a toe in the river. You know what I
Might
mean?
just
Like,
be
there's
what it was.
no, but
Oh,
that's gross that they knew that they were like eating humans and they were just like, sure, I'll have some
like
cake.
like some Dahmer type stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty
Ugh.
sick. And it's sad that she obviously had mental issues that weren't addressed when she was younger. And somehow in her mind, she was rationalizing. I can't imagine losing that many children.
Yeah.
Like, you have to,
Yeah. Teen pregnancies.
yeah. So she lost 13 children. Yeah, that would drive me insane.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that was kind of common back in then, right? To have that many pregnancies.
I don't know if that many, but that's a lot. She's Italian in that era. She most likely was Roman Catholic, and there's
Catholic.
nothing in that would say, okay, sacrificing will get rid of a curse.
Yeah, so it makes me kind of wonder how long he did live if this actually did work in her mind.
He finished through the war and he did survive.
Well, I don't know if it was because she was killing and eating people, but yeah, that's just wild. That logic. Yeah, I wonder how her parents felt. I don't know.
Who, Leonarda's?
Yeah.
She didn't even like her.
Well,
She looked at her like, oh, okay, like I get that she was a product of rape and that's tough, but
yes.
there's always adoption, there's always other options. There's no reason to keep your child and just like constantly berate them and just, she didn't act like a mother to her, I don't think. I don't think she showed her love correctly and
So she had a lot of issues going into this. Not that it's okay for you to
no.
kill people and make cakes out of them and soap. It's just
Yeah.
wild that there was only three.
Well, because she got caught, I'm sure it would have kept going if she was allowed to.
Yeah, it's just funny at the trial. Well, this is exactly what I did. It's like, okay, well, if I'm gonna get in,
Yeah, get my recipes right.
that's just so wild. I mean, oh, I couldn't even imagine
Yeah,
back
that's
then the
gross.
stomach issues if you're eating people's bodies.
Ugh.
That's a wild one. I haven't heard of that one. I remember there was like I can't remember what country, but there was a lady that I thought she was like in the like in a royal family or something, and she would kill like young women and bathe in their blood. And I can't remember who it was,
Oh,
but
Elizabeth Bathory?
yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he killed a lot,
yeah.
and there was
That
weird
she's
logic too behind that.
Yeah, I don't understand any of it. I can't put my mind anywhere near that to understand how you can rationalize that in your head.
I guess, losing all those kids and then wanting the ones to survive. And then I guess because she had this favorite one, which is, I guess parents do have favorite kids, but I don't think I would say that out loud or that is just, she's wild. I'll have to look up to see what she looks like.
Oh my gosh, if you do, look up the picture of her sitting next to her husband and please message me when you look it up and tell me what you think.
So she must have been like a good I mean, like, to get these people to trust her.
Well, she was like this sweet old lady that owned the shop in town.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's Mrs. Whatever.
So she wasn't suspecting.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet prison was good for her.
I'm glad she at least went to a mental facility at the end, but I don't even know how good that would be back then either.
Yeah, depending on what they were medicating her with or like what she had. She did. So the husband, did he do any time or?
No.
Because these days he would, because I mean he was helping.
Oh, definitely.
Probably.
Him and the son would have. It's just a
Wow.
bizarre little story.
Yeah, it's wild. I was like, because I was like, I wonder what story she's going to give me. Because I kept thinking, oh, it's probably going to be Dahmer because he just literally grosses me out. So I can't. Like, I tried to watch the Netflix thing on him, and I got to like the second episode. There's something about him and the neighbors complaining about the smell of meat. I'm like, that's not. So that's one that's very hard for me, is when they start eating people.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I would have avoided that subject.
No, this one's fine. But like we're covering Gacy in like April, and even that was hard to watch. He's a character, and he actually lived in our area here for a little, like I think like 2 years before he moved to Chicago.
The thing about him is his charisma. The way that everyone was like, "Oh, he was such a great guy," is so bizarre to me.
Yeah, I watched the Netflix one on him, and then I'm watching the other one, and he thinks a lot of himself and all the people he knew, and just he is a character. So that's going to be an interesting one. It'll be a bit hard for my co-host because that's kind of rough, but but yeah, this was an interesting one though. I feel like I learned something. Taking any soap from anybody or cakes. I'm like,
I
no.
know you would think like cakes would be scary, but you figured soap would be safe. But
Yeah,
I guess not.
I wonder if they could see something weird in the soap.
I know it's not like they're putting like flowers in there or shaped like into seashells or something.
Like, oh no, this is a finger.
Ew.
We didn't have like the medical stuff then, and if you're like eating that stuff, touching that stuff, I can't even imagine the things that you would get from that. Even if you are cooking it, I don't think it just still. Ugh.
Yeah, that's rough. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, it was fun.
And give Casey Ray a listen and her co-host Lex.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. You know the spiel on social media, outrosataghost.com if you have a story to share. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Bye. Everybody.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Jess. We're the hosts of the Wicked Wanderings podcast.
Join us every Wednesday as we explore the mysteries of true crime,
the paranormal,
and all things creepy.
We'll take you on a journey through well-known cases
and stories off the beaten path that are sure to leave an impression.
So stay curious,
keep exploring, and always remember to keep on wandering.
Listen wherever you get your podcasts.